Ladies and gentlemen, this match being played now is Puerto Rico male versus Mexico male. This is the open category. El tiempo ahora es 6 minutos 52 segundos. Gol por goro número 9, gol por goro número 9 de México.
Hi everyone and welcome to 3MR Communications presentation of CCCAN 2017. Royal Rigsby here and I'm joined with Olympian, barrister, legend of water polo. As we say in Game of Thrones, titles, Christopher George.
Thank you for that introduction, Ruel. It's really good to be here. I don't even know how I'll follow up with, you know, hilarious, absolutely hilarious. We. So this is the first time that we are actually having this conversation. We're opening up the floor. We're trying to bring life to water polo, and we're here today observing Mexico versus Puerto Rico. Right now, as you can see, the score is 2-1. Yeah, Mexico just scored. Goal by number 2 of Mexico, Diego Mercado Losa. Yeah. Or was it Puerto Rico?
Puerto Rico's in
or Francisco Vargas.
Oh, wow. Yes, Chris, so we're here at men's open water polo action. The two top teams in their group, Puerto Rico and Mexico, both teams are really vying for the top spot here, and this is going to be a very heated affair. And Puerto Rico is able to draw level against the Mexicans.
Ruel, we were just talking before and reminiscing about, us playing in these games. Ruel likes to talk about me being a water polo legend. I actually looked up to Ruel Rigsby, when I was younger, coming up in the game. So, Ruel, I'd like to go back to 1998, Barbados, the first time that Trinidad and Tobago had played Puerto Rico in a competitive competition, and just tell me of the feeling you had playing one of these big teams, playing Puerto Rico or Mexico.
Oh, it was Chris, you're way too kind. It was a great honor to play against one of the top teams in the region. Definitely my attitude at the time was, they're going to get it. I was going to give it to them in the business end, but unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. But it was an honor to represent Trinidad and Tobago and get that opportunity, and then being able to see where the program has grown to from then has really been something special. How about yourself?
No, same thing for me. I remember playing on my first national team in 2000 and looking at these teams as something as that Trinidad and Tobago, with respect to water polo, could never get to with respect to standard. And it's really impressive to see us competing game after game with these teams. So it's interesting to see this, because I think the outcome of this game is actually, if Trinidad and Tobago, and I'm being absolutely positive, if Trinidad and Tobago beats Venezuela tonight, Trinidad and Tobago will play one of these teams in the semi-final round. Am I not wrong, Ruel? Yeah. No, so I mean,
we got a stats guy running downstairs to get that information from the stats office right now. We'll get that right back to you as soon as we have that.
No, but I've been looking at the standings, and obviously the game, Cuba is at the head, is on top of the next group. And Trinidad and Tobago has won one game against Barbados and a nail-biter against Jamaica, 9-8. And there's an opportunity here that if Trinidad and Tobago wins this game, they'll be playing the number 1 or number 2 seed from the next group, which is Group B, which is either Puerto Rico or Mexico. Yeah. So we could get the stats in, but I think that is that qualitative assessment might be adequate for this. So nice. Let's get back to some water polo action. Maybe you could explain a little bit the type of defense that you're seeing here, or we could talk about some of the defense that we're seeing here.
No, but definitely the Puerto Ricans at all the age levels have been playing a very high-pressing defense, really trying to make their opponents work just to get into the 5-meter area, let alone the 2-meter area.
Yes.
And the Mexico's been trying to match with a bit of a man-to-man, but we'll see if they still have the same sort of fervor as the Puerto Ricans.
Yes. What you just saw there was when two players get too entangled, there is generally the referee sees an infringement, and he actually just called an offensive foul against Puerto Rico. Mexico is Mexico in blue is taking up the ball, and that high pressure defense that Ruel was talking about is actually being seen. And you see Puerto Rico now counter-attacking down the field, really looking to take the game to Mexico. Let's see how they set up here.
Yeah, Puerto Rico working the ball nicely around the perimeter. Slips it into the center. Oh! Puerto Rico!
Goal number 9, Angel Rosado. Yeah, this Puerto Rico right here.
Come, Chris, you gotta say with a little bit more flavor on that. Angel Rosado putting the Puerto Ricans ahead 3-2 in this first quarter of a crunching battle for the top of Group B.
Yes. And you see what happened there, right? A drive-through by a player created an opportunity where number 9 beat his defender, and then off of a water shot, a skip shot, something that you used to be an expert in, you know?
I was an expert at skipping rocks, and I don't know about skipping shots.
And then he put it in. Now there's a timeout by Puerto Rico. I think Puerto Rico and Mexico are both looking at what they can change with respect to strategy to gain the advantage. Puerto Rico is leading for the first time today. Mexico was actually up 2-1, and Puerto Rico just came roaring back with 2 quick goals in this quarter. So
I know, we'll see. It's what do you like about seeing this type of level of competition is that you're really going to see strategy, technique, and just focus. Both focus defensively, making sure you stay with your man, making sure you execute the defensive plan the coach have in place, and then offensively really taking those opportunities when they come.
And you see this high press there by Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is fronting the whole set, trying to stop it. The ball is in.
Can't do that.
Yes, can't do that. Good things always happen when you get the ball into whole set, and I'm not just saying that because I am a whole set. Feed the hole, feed the center. Feed the big diesel. That's what I tell to all the kids out there.
Give it to the guys on the wing. These diesel guys, they just clog up the center. They just want all the ball.
Good save by number 1. Good save by Joab Perez. I can't say it with such flavor as Ruel, but I would try.
Yeah, but definitely Mexico squandered a bit of opportunity there. They had a man-up advantage to really try and draw level, and now the Puerto Ricans are really
pressing out on defense.
Correct.
Yes. And an errant shot there. This is what happens when you play good defense. You frustrate the offensive player, and then you get, you get bad shots, bad opportunities. Quick foul there. Let's see if they shoot. No. Number 5 from. Oh, penalty. Penalty again.
Ooh.
Again. Let's see what number drew the penalty. Number 9 again. Number 9 just Angel Rosado.
Angel
Rosado scoring the last goal. Just being a whole set, that power player.
Number 7, I think.
Okay.
Fernando's Zayed.
Let's see how he performs here. Oh, great goal. Great goal. A skip shot into the corner, Number 7, Fernando Zayas.
Close enough, Chris. it's a good valiant attempt. So the Puerto Ricans taking a 2-goal advantage over Mexico, making the score 4-2, and really turning on the screws here. What Puerto Rico's been doing well with their high press is that they do very well in a transition offense.
Yes, exactly.
And they don't give the Mexicans time to set up.
And you see the frustration shot there? Yeah. But it's the end of the quarter. A little bit of a recap. Mexico surged ahead, but Puerto Rico, with a slight change in strategy, has, absolutely changed the outlook of the game. They're up 4-2.
That's correct. So what do you think some of the things Mexico needs to change to have a better outing in the second quarter, Chris?
You know, I always say that you have to adapt to the strategy. Anytime that anyone is pressing high in water polo, the number one strategy is driving. You know, you are a winger, you understand this. You create opportunities when you drive. You create opportunities for the set. You create opportunities for wing players. And that is all things that I think the coach is going to be shouting at them in the Mexican team. And that's playing with energy. You know, bringing that energy to the water polo. I mean, we'll see if they change their strategy and if they are able to execute better in the second quarter.
So true, Chris. Definitely this tactical battle here. The Puerto Ricans seem to be really together and really determined. The Mexicans looking a little bit shell-shocked.
Yes.
You know, like a kid that dropped their ice cream cone and then had somebody stepped on it. You know, they're really going to have to rethink about how they move forward here.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they can't be stunned. They need to really look at changing strategy. And they're only down by 2 goals. You know, this water polo is generally a high-scoring affair. You know, 15 to 20 goals sometimes in a game. And you know, this is only the first quarter. Nerves might have gotten
into the team.
Exactly,
Well,
you know.
well, the interesting thing with the Mexicans is that they really haven't been pushed as yet in this tournament. Their last game was a 19-3 win over Dominican Republic.
Yes.
And they've been really trouncing some of the other teams in their group. So now that they're finally really matched up against a potent opponent, it's interesting to see how they'll respond.
Yeah, that happens sometimes, you know, when it is that you're not tested and now you have to turn the switch on. Let's see how they start off with this swim-off. Cap number 4, Manuel Blanco, throwing off for Mexico, and let's see how they go. Turning the hands. Oh, again, the energy going to Puerto Rico, the ball going to Puerto Rico. Let's see if Mexico can have a good defensive stance. They're starting off in a high press. Oh, tough defense. Passing it down to the wing. Good pass into set. Let's see if the whole set could do anything. Wasting an opportunity.
Yeah, he did. I mean, Mexico needed a good defensive stand here, and they need to turn this into some offense if they need to start to chip away into that Puerto Rican lead.
Oh, a good kick out. This is the type of opportunity that they need. A man up, 6-on-5 opportunity. Let's see if they don't waste it. They better get the ball in the air. They only have a few more seconds on this man up. Only 5 more seconds. They're going to have to rush his shot. Oh. Again.
Oh, the Puerto Rican bench lugged that stand. Once again, Mexico had a man-up advantage, and once again, Puerto Rico's defense stymied them from capitalizing on that opportunity.
You know, Ruel, this is what we talk about in water polo. These are little small things that happen constantly where, you know, not taking the opportunity to capitalize, you know, but a good defensive play by Mexico, and let's see if they could change the tides of this game moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, 2 good defensive stops by Mexico. They're really trying to create some width against the team. Oh, slipped it back post! Turns!
Just an ordinary foul there. You see what happened is he had a great opportunity. The ball came in just a little bit late. Oh, kick out. Penalty.
Here we go.
This is what happens. You know what I was talking to you about?
Yeah.
The drive, the energy, it changes the outlook of the game. And now the referee is forced to call the game in favor of Mexico.
That is true. The Mexicans really had a good talk at the quarter break, and they've really done some things differently, really moving off the ball, swimming off the ball a lot better, and trying to put that Puerto Rican defense under some stress.
Let's see what happens with this penalty. Ooh!
Oh!
Oh! No, again, this is what we talk about. One, a kick out, a penalty, and then not capitalizing on this. I am sure that the coach of Mexico is going absolutely crazy right now. Those are 2 goals.
The
This
coach
thing-
of Mexico is wiping on a spot on the bench for that guy to come and sit on. That's what our coach in Mexico is
Now,
doing.
well, you might not remember, but in 2000, that's what you know, the coach, our coach Alan Tuafu actually did to me. I thought I was a star boy. I was the number 1 guy off the bench, and after I did maybe exactly what the Mexican shooter did, I got to warm the bench for the rest for the rest of the tournament. You know, hopefully the the Mexican coach isn't as terrible as Alan Tuafu, you know, but
Alan Tuafu, he's a demanding man, Chris.
he's still a coach. He coached us 20 years ago and he's coaching now, you know. So we call him old man now. Old man Alan Tuafu. But we love him. We love him. Let's see again. Another man up. Oh,
Mexico's
good
got to
faking.
make it count. Oh,
Every single time I see a player doing that, oh wow, terrible. You know, I think that's the same player who missed the penalty. You know, he might be getting up to that level of
Well-
Christopher George, 2000 CISC. He might get space on the bench.
Chris, to be fair, you're a young player and you're learning the game. Don't be too hard on yourself. You know, Alan's a unique individual. But definitely the Mexicans, I think they're feeling the
Wasted 3 opportunities. I counted 3.
yeah, I think they're feeling the
Oh,
pressure,
now,
man.
Now Puerto Rico has a man up. If Puerto Rico goes up, this is a 4-goal swing.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Oh wow, they wasted this opportunity. Or have they? Oh, 2-meter violation. Again, number 4 from Puerto Rico decided, you know, there's offside in football, there's offside in water polo too. You must not be in that red region.
Correct, without the ball.
Exactly.
Without bringing the ball into it, I should say.
I'm seeing a lot of, they've not been a goal this quarter at all. Both teams have been playing.
No, I mean the defensive changes have really been tight.
Exactly.
But I have to say Mexico has found spaces on the opportunities,
Yeah.
but you can see the moment has been getting to them a bit. The shots that were going in very easily for them early in the tournament are going wide and high, and you know they really need to find an answer for that.
Yeah, I always say this, Ruel, you know, you always see truly how good a team is when they play a team that's comparable to them. You know, they outclassed Dominican Republic, you know, and Costa Rica. And what has happened? Wow,
Whoa!
I spoke too soon.
That's Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. He's looking for his cap. Even the announcers don't know what number, what number he is.
There's the man with the silky smooth hair, just putting it past the Mexican goalkeeper.
Yeah, that was a great shot from outside of 7 meters.
Yeah. No, it was a very heads-up play, and those are the type of plays that kind of separate these type of teams, like you were saying. You know,
Yes.
it's a tight game. The teams are comparable. The ones who can keep their focus in these stoppages, during the stoppages in play, I think, are what's going to be important.
Number 7. Oh, we were just told that it was cap number 7. No, from Puerto Rico, Fernando Saez, and again.
Yeah, the penalty taker.
Exactly.
Oh, and Puerto Rico comes up with the ball again, a turnover by the Mexicans. And Puerto Rico is going to bring the ball up on the wing as he surveys the field, look for his options. And the Puerto Rican attack swings it wide to the wing.
Now let's see. Again, I tell him, get the ball into set. Get the ball into set.
Spoken like a true center. Just give me the ball and let me go to work.
Exactly. Get the ball down to the wing. Oh, no. But Mexico's actually playing a good soft defense. Let's see if they shoot here. Oh, nice shot.
Oh, brilliant save by the Mexican goalkeeper.
Number 13.
Bernardo Partida. Say this.
This is the type of energy I like from Mexico. You know, when when they get the ball up there early. You know, and now they're actually up by 1 man. Oh! Good. Again,
Yeah.
great energy
Yeah.
means a goal.
Yeah.
Every single time. Water polo is a game of energy.
Well, Chris, if you're here for the game earlier today, the Jamaicans might have proven you wrong a couple times with their shooting.
No,
but definitely, if they subscribe to you, they may have gotten a bit more goals. To be fair,
Well, you're a little bit lucky that the probability of us having our Caribbean brothers from the north on this cast is not very high. We most likely have a Spanish-speaking contingent. So, let's keep it. Yeah, let's keep the insults within the English-speaking Caribbean.
Not a problem. Can't even shout out this guy's name. But for those of you guys joining us on the 3MR live chat, we want to just give you guys a shout out. We're loving the conversation. We're loving how everybody's sharing and really following their teams. I see there's some big Mexican fans really supporting the Mexicans to come away with a win, and hopefully they can stick with their side and give them the support that they need.
Yeah, and Sound Crazy has said TNT best bet is to finish 5th in the tournament and qualify for the 2018 Central American Championship games in Colombia. I really hate the negativity there. Trinidad and Tobago still has a game. They still have an opportunity to get into the medal rounds. And it's home court advantage. And I'm going to err on the side of optimism and say Trinidad and Tobago is going to go and perform well today. They're going to compete well against Venezuela. And I'm not just saying that because my younger brother's captain of the team.
Hey, they say, Chris, blood is thicker than water. And in these waters here, that game against Venezuela, it is going to be a crucial game.
Yes.
And you do want to see Trinidadian teams that do have the sense of belief, the sense of drive, coming up against opposition, that they can take the game to them and probably get a positive result that can open more doors and opportunities for the team.
Yeah. Exactly, Ruel.
So what are you looking for from your brother in this game against Venezuelan? Are we going to see the Matthew that has a 3-goal swing, or are we going to see the Matthew that is taking an early shower?
No, I hope to see the 2-time All-American, Collegiate Club All-American Matthew George from University of Florida. And he's looking good. I talked to him today. He's looking positive. He's looking good. And I hope to see great energy from him. So I also I'm looking forward to looking at John Stanley Littlepage play. A great standout from University of Texas. A teammate of mine for many years. Again, he is the driver. He's the power. A great penalty drawn by cap number 2 of Puerto Rico. Oh, Francisco Vargas. They're switching up in the whole set for Puerto Rico.
Well, Chris, not everyone's like you where they could just sit there whole day and just take a beating. Some of these other teams, they got to switch it up and keep their guy fresh.
This is a terrible man up by Puerto Rico.
Why do you say
again,
that?
What ends up happening is they're forcing the ball to one side, and they have a right-hander on the weak wing. And what happens is that they force the right-hander to shoot the ball. There is not a great opportunity. That's the place I want you to shoot the ball from. Now it's even. They've wasted a man-up opportunity, and this is exactly what. This is bad defense. Absolutely bad defense. Oh, great by the goalkeeper.
That's what
Great awareness by the goalkeeper.
That's what I'm telling you, Chris. During those moments in the stoppages in play, the team that can keep their focus and keep their awareness are the team that's kind of going to push ahead and create big moments that are going to keep their team in this game, like we saw from the Mexican goalkeeper, Partida.
Yes. So, Puerto Rico is still up by 2 goals. It's been a very, very low-scoring quarter. Only 1 to Mexico, 1 to Puerto Rico. But they've had a lot of opportunities. And again, I feel that Mexico has had more opportunities, but they've kind of lost focus. They had a penalty that was saved.
Well, Chris, we have a saying here in Trinidad, pressure does bust pipe or it forms diamonds. And right now, Mexico is in that conundrum, and they're trying to figure out what is going to be their outcome.
I don't want them to be calling Wasa, they might get in a little trouble. We have Puerto Rico here, the female and junior team supporting their senior male team.
Do you think she's eating a roti there, Chris?
It may not be. It
Come all the way to Trinidad to eat a hamburger? Come on now.
Exactly. It's absolutely terrible. You know, I'd hope that these Puerto Ricans had a little bit of, you know, adventure. You know, adventure cuisine. But
Well, Chris, did you have some foods you like to eat to get you ready for a game?
you know, I think the best food. You know, in water polo, it's a combination of getting great energy, but also feeling light. You know, you don't want to be bogged down. I wouldn't eat a roti before a water polo before a water polo game. You know what I mean? You may. Oh, great shot. But again, he took a little bit too long. I think he didn't pass the ball. He should have passed the ball. It was a good shot by the Mexican player there.
Well, the Mexican ball movement has really slowed down on the offensive end. They haven't really been moving the ball and get good looks. And Puerto Rico steals him behind. Shot! Oh! Puerto Rico. The fans are loving
Number
that. And that
7.
was in number 7.
Again, Zayas.
Vargas.
Oh, it's Puerto Rico. Fernando Zayas.
Yeah, Fernando Zayas. My apologies. What's maybe his third or fourth goal of the match by now?
Yes, he's kind of filling up that stat sheet, you know, and I think that Puerto Rico is really, you know, unless Mexico does something drastic, Puerto Rico is going to kind of run away with this.
I mean, you're right. I mean, it is 6-3 in Puerto Rico's favor.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing any real indication that Mexico really wants this. You know, they're playing very, very static water polo, something that I don't like. You know, I'd like to see some drives inside there, but oh, good kick out there by the whole set. I think they should have let
The play run.
The play run. You know, the whole set did have an advantage.
Well, I mean, at these tournaments as well, you know, you want the players to have good games, but the officials, you know, they're also under pressure to perform well. And with good athletes, you know, you're really going to have to be really sharp on those calls.
Yeah.
Mexico finally moving the ball around the perimeter well, working it nicely. Looks up for the shot.
You see what happens here again is they had great movement of the ball, and then what happens is the ball just gets stuck on a certain player. You know, if I'd really have a stern talk with is that number 11 from Mexico? They're getting frustrated. You've seen these quick shots. Yeah, Vargas is again. You really need to focus on being a team player in these situations, and you know, frustration I think is getting the better part of Mexico right now, where they've had 7 or 8 goals on the cage and only scored 1.
Yep, you're correct on that. I mean, when you don't take your opportunities at this level, and it's becoming harder and harder as, you know, those legs get heavier, those arms get tighter, you know, it really puts pressure on. And at the end of this first half, you know, Puerto Rico leads Mexico 6-3.
Yeah, you know, what I see from this game so far is that both teams are not executing as well as they could. Puerto Rico is playing with better energy. Mexico is just, you know, they're kind of like a deer caught in headlights a little bit. They've gone bombarded by the speed of Puerto Rico, something that they have not been accustomed to. You know? Oh, this is Puerto Rico's coaches? Oh, okay. Puerto Rico supporters all the way from, you know, our Spanish neighbors to the north. That's great. I love when I see these little kids being excited about being part of the CCCAN games. I can actually remember being part of my Caribbean Islands Swimming Championships in 1990. I'm kind of ashamed to say it, where I was one of the kids, you know, helping.
Chris, are you giving us a story of you being one of those kids that will just like get the bucket of water, wave the flags for the team?
I was, you know. You know, it got me to the Olympics, so, you know, just...
I'm not sure if carrying that bucket of water got you to the Olympics. That's one of those stories you keep deep down in the vault.
Yeah, Puerto Rico's younger kids, younger team is actually excited, you know. They've seen a very good performance by their senior team. Puerto Rico water polo.
Definitely, Chris. Like, why do you think Puerto Rico has been able to consistently have such a strong water polo program at all these age group divisions?
I think the biggest thing is the strength of their high school program.
Oh, really?
I think, you know, that's actually what got Trinidad and Tobago into being better at water polo. You know, we were talking about it before, where Queens Royal College, alma mater,
yeah.
was one of the first schools to actually implement water polo in the secondary school, secondary school league. And it provides for a platform for kids to be able to, you know, advance to the senior national team. And I think that Puerto Rico has one of the older programs in the Caribbean, and that's why they are so strong, you know?
No, that is true. That's a very good point there. And
we've seen a little bit of views of, I was talking about John Stanley Littlepage, you know, and these guys again ready to see, you know, to battle. And I have confidence in Trinidad and Tobago. Others may not, but I do. Absolutely. I know every one of those kids playing inside there. Mark Stobel, he's actually a standout for Iona College in New York. As I said, John Stanley Littlepage, number 10. He was the captain of the national team. Now my younger brother, Matthew George, is the captain of the national team. Sebastian. You know, all these players have been actually grown through the high school system in Trinidad and Tobago. And you could see 15 to 20 years later that we now have a senior team that is sustainable, and Trinidad and Tobago also has an under 15 team and an under 18 team. And you see in the girls team, you know, it's always good when we have a larger water polo community, meaning that a larger pool of talent, better players.
Well, the thing is that, yes, the environment has changed, and in terms of developing a sport within the region, that's what it needs. Oh, and we see the head coach of Trinidad and Tobago.
Birdman, a.k.a. Andrew Francis. We'll call him by Andrew Francis right now because he is the coach of the national team. But, Ruel, tell me, how did he get that name, Birdman?
There are so many amendments in the Constitution, but I can only choose one.
Okay.
And I plead the fifth.
Now we see some members of the Puerto Rico contingent. You know, it's very, very heartening when you see people coming all the way and from their islands and actually supporting their players, their teams. You know, this is actually what we need in the region. In every single sport, not only water polo, in swimming, in judo, in track and field, in football. You know, we need more
in cricket.
In cricket.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's not talk about cricket right now. You know, but
no, but I definitely do think that one of the challenges that we do face in the region is that we are very near, but the challenges of crossing the seas, whether it be air travel, by ship, you know, the ways in which we are linked and connected to each other can prove difficult in allowing the region to really grow and develop and have the sort of connections and communications and build the sort of relationships that we would like.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, the second half is now starting. So let's see, the two teams are lining up. They've switched sides as is accustomed in every single, sport. And let's see if it actually makes a difference. So maybe that other side has a little bit more energy. Maybe Mexico can go and take this 3-goal deficit and turn it on its head.
I'm not sure if you have some inside knowledge there about the magnetic fields of the Earth, and maybe that's what's more energetic. I mean, you do have some studies in that.
Yeah, they started off badly. You know, Puerto Rico winning the swim-off number 7. You know, Fernando Zayas has scored 3 goals in the first half, and he's winning balls in swim-off. He's the fastest guy the best player on Puerto Rico.
I mean, he's been electric all this evening, and he's really been a driving force behind the Puerto Rican team and the success they've been having in the first half, and we're going to see.
Ball inside set, kick outs. Again, you know, the energy is to Puerto Rico. You know, maybe that magnetic field is more of a pseudoscience, you know, and we're trying to prove something and bring energy to Mexico, but unfortunately we're not being successful. Let's see if Puerto Rico can actually capitalize on this. Good movement inside there.
And a very well taken shot. Yes.
And you see what happened there. They moved the defense by ball movements. And number 7 again.
Again.
You know, I can actually close my eyes. I don't even need to question who is actually scoring all these goals. He's winning swim-offs. This is his 4th goal of the game. Fernando is really playing out there.
Well, don't you think as Mexico, you would try to mitigate the impact that this player is having and try to find ways to keep him further and further away from your goal?
Yes. I mean, yes, you know, the thing is that I would actually focus on number 7, you know. We're seeing some commentators out there talking about the biasness. You know, we are neither for Mexico or for Puerto Rico at all. You know, we're both Trinidad and Tobago supporters. So I'm not going to hide my bias with respect to that, but we're looking at this game neutrally, and we're just appreciating the great water polo. You know, I apologize, Julio. We're not trying to we're not trying to do anything to bias. You know, we're actually inside of a little box. It's a little cold outside here. I wish I was actually inside the pool.
And here we go, Mexico with the ball again.
Outlet pass.
Trying to see if they can turn
Yeah.
things around. Puerto
And
Rico
still
pressure.
it's-
Oh,
Oh,
nice
good.
on the back stick.
Let's
Cuts
see.
inside.
You s-
Oh, that's a
penalty.
mugging.
But yeah, it is absolutely a mugging. You see what happens inside there is if the goalkeeper had just remained inside of the cage, they would, the player was looking for the penalty, and he gave them that opportunity. It's, you know, I see stuff like that, and let's see if Mexico can get their first goal. At least they've changed the shooter.
Well, you remember they had a penalty in the first half
Yeah,
that
but
they
if-
wasted.
But they changed the shooter. It's no longer it's no longer Vargas. I think it's number 8, Diego Ochoa. That is 2 penalties that they missed. You know, we talked about the 4 or 5 opportunities that they missed in the second quarter.
So true.
And now a penalty, a point blank. Ruel, have you ever missed a penalty? I don't think so. I don't think so.
I actually have. The first penalty I ever took for Trinidad and Tobago in international competition, I missed.
We go back to that time in Barbados.
That time in Barbados, yes, but then I scored a fantastic goal right afterwards and made amends. So
yeah. True.
let's see if, I think that was the number 6 for Mexico, Moises Escobar. And we'll see if he can make amends for his team and get a goal back. Oh, buttery touches.
Oh, let's see. End-to-end stuff. End-to-end stuff.
And Ray Julian Castillo swimming in on goal. 1-on-1, the Mexican defender trying to take one up, shoots.
Ooh, great. That was an exquisite goal. That was superb. That was absolutely superb.
Oh my word. Yeah. And Puerto Rico takes a 8-3 advantage over Mexico. Some sloppy passing there by the Mexicans on offense, and Puerto Rico, I'm telling you, whole tournament you can write about their transition offense and the goals it has led to them. It has led to them achieving.
Yes. So, you know, it was highlighted. Cuba has been, in the next group, has been a very, very phenomenal team. And historically in CCCAN and CAC,
Oh, the dribbler! Was all the ball across the line?
you know, I would ask for a photo replay there. I think the referees might have got that wrong.
Oh no, Mexico is taking it.
Yeah, this is why we actually need goal line technology. Number 7.
Number 7 for Mexico, Saul
Galvez.
Trying to keep Mexico back in the game.
Yeah. You know, if Mexico loses this game, they most probably have Cuba. Cuba has been a dominant force at the CCCAN games, winning the last CCCAN. You know, I see this as a must-win if they want to get into the gold medal game. You know, that's why they should be playing with a lot of energy this way.
Oh,
A little bit of confusion.
I think
A yellow card for a player.
I think we have an exclusion.
Number
Yeah.
7, Zayas has the ball, just receiving the foul. Let's see if they can get the ball on the other side. A drive coming across the field by Puerto Rico. The ball's going to fake in. They're going to try get it into set. It looks like Puerto Rico is actually still playing this.
Yeah, they're trying to find some space for their set to see if we can get some space.
Oh, nice catch.
Oh.
Nice block, too. Ball's turned over. That was actually a good defensive play by Mexico. Let's see if it is that they, you know, after that goal, it kind of sparks a comeback here.
Well, I mean, definitely the Mexicans are looking a bit more fiery up front, driving really hard.
Yes. Oh, good. A kick out.
He has a man back stick. Oh,
Kick out drawn by the big number 7, Galvez.
that's Delgado.
Yes, ball passing around. Let's see again. The idea in man down or man up offenses is to draw the defenders to one side. That was actually a very, very bad shot by the player, but they were running low on time. Now it's back to even, and they have to work again. Another wasted opportunity. This is the 5th or 6th man up opportunity that I feel that Mexico has not capitalized on. That is the type of thing that would get you taken out by the coach. You know, you having 20 seconds on your shot clock and shooting from 9 meters.
I know.
Doesn't work. Again, number 7 with the ball.
Well, let's see what kind of decision he's going to make, because definitely the Mexicans, they were looking a bit more promising, but like you said, some poor decision making there when it comes to taking that final shot or to find that space. And they've not really given the Puerto Ricans a lot anything different to really look at.
Yes, you know, it's the same type of thing. Forcing the goal inside set, not really passing the rock around on man-up opportunities. And it's showing, you know, by them not scoring.
Here we go. Puerto Rico in the flat to
Puerto
the wing.
Puerto Rico's not playing with as much energy. I hope that they're not resting on that goal lead. You know, they're not driving, they're not pressing. You know, they're being very, very lazy. 9 seconds left.
Well, Chris, there's a whole lot of game left to play, and you have to wonder either did that high pressing defense in the first half really take a lot out of them, or are they just saving some energy for this 4th quarter?
Yeah, you've brought up a very relevant point. You know, I feel that that offense, that high energy offense and defense could have taken some energy out of them. And you know, let's see if Mexico can actually. And just as I spoke, you know, Puerto Rico starts playing with some energy again.
And it's
Ball
Bio,
Oh,
off the
wow.
crossbar. Oh, push it!
Again.
Ooh, heads up.
Drives create opportunity.
Heads
Number
up
2.
play by number 2, Francisco Vargas. Really just snuck in there on the back post after a really nice save by the Mexican goalkeeper, but just couldn't get to the rebound in time.
So again, Puerto Rico is just doing enough to put the goals in place. They're playing with the right amount of energy. You know, and I think that they are guaranteeing themselves the best chance to get to the gold medal game. Because if they're ranked number 1, they most probably, and I'm going to put my neck out on a limb.
All right. I know where you're going with this.
Yes, you know, they might play Trinidad, which from the next group, you know, I'm putting it out there.
Mexico receives some energy for semifinal. Sounds crazy.
You know, sounds crazy. He's really been commenting outside here, and you know, he's a very, very opinionated listener. He thinks that the game is done. You know, I'm not sure, and you know, maybe my math is not accurate, but it is the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, well, the Mexicans coming out of timeout, definitely. They wanted to chat about some things and see if they can change some of their tactics around.
Yes.
And, I mean, they're not down by much. 5 goals with more than a quarter left to play. I mean, 2 quick goals right now and a couple stops.
Yes.
You know, can really get them back in this game and really make the Puerto Ricans anxious.
Yeah, so the score right now is 9-4 to Puerto Rico. You know, sounds crazy again. He's the most vocal listener out there, really paying attention. And he's also a historian. He tells us that this is a revenge for Mexico's 13-4 drubbing over Puerto Rico 3 years ago. I'm not so sure.
Whoa, Mexico!
That might actually be the case, but Mexico still has a little bit of fight in them. Cap number 4 from Mexico, Manuel Blanco, scores for
Mexico, yeah, he was a well-taken shot. He found a bit of space and hit a nice low sweeping shot right underneath the goalkeeper.
Again, water polo is a game of runs, you know. I feel that if Mexico can get maybe 1 more goal in this quarter, and it's only 3 going into the 4th, that they might actually have an opportunity.
Yeah,
You know,
no, they definitely will, but they cannot lose their defensive assignments like what they're doing here right now. Mexico has to put pressure, make Puerto Rico give up an offensive opportunity, waste down the clock, which is what they're doing nicely.
Yes.
Oh, and here they go.
Good
Mexico
defense.
comes up with it.
You see, this is what happens. I feel Puerto Rico has. You could feel the energy outside there. You know, we're looking at this game and we're sensing the energy. Puerto Rico had great energy in that first half. And Puerto Rico has just kind of taken their foot off the accelerator. And what happens? Again, what happens inside?
Oh!
The goalkeeper, a great save. But those type of opportunities happen, and this could be something that changed the momentum of the game.
But Chris, as you rightly saying, Mexico, they are trying to get those opportunities, as the Puerto Ricans seem to be tiring, but they have to capitalize on this. And if they can, they're really going to make this game interesting.
Yeah.
Oh!
As I said,
Listen to Chris. Chris, what did you say? What did you say at the start of this broadcast?
I think that these warriors, these Mayan and Aztec warriors, are not going to roll over easily. They're not going to let their Latin brothers from Puerto Rico just drum them. But I love good water polo. I love close water polo, and when the energy level, this is why a timeout has been called by Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is looking at this and saying, I could hear the coach telling them energy, energy, energy. That is what is making them lose this lead. If they had executed earlier on, they would have been up by 6 or 7 goals, and this game would not be in question right now. But 3 goals is a sizable lead, but it can change the outlook in the fourth quarter.
Well, within the space of a minute or two, Mexico was able to get 2 quick goals to cut the deficit down to 3. And with more than a little bit over a quarter and some change left, you have to think that the Mexicans are putting themselves in a good opportunity to make a run at the Puerto Rican lead.
So
I'm just going to give a shout out to our commentators that Khan Academy has some great math courses if you're ever interested. And here we go, Puerto Rico with the ball.
I sense that number seven from Zayas is the energy player. I could see him trying to make a difference in today. Just drove through. He's now on the wing. Ball inside set, kick out. Great. This is the type of energy that's needed. Notice he drives through, creates an opportunity where the ball goes inside set. Big Diesel, always get the ball inside set, get the kick out, And now I'm just remembering this. There was actually a penalty. I think it's an interesting call by the referee. I wouldn't have called that a penalty. I'd have called that a kick out.
Well, the referee making a gutsy call there it was a pretty close one. And that's what Puerto Rico does. Oh!
Again.
Partida almost got a hand to it.
And again, number 7, Zayas, I believe this is his 5th goal today. He's the MVP of this game, definitely. He's the difference maker. Those 5 goals, if he was not in the water, Puerto Rico would be down.
I mean, you're definitely correct on that. I mean, he's definitely been making a difference out there in the water for Puerto Rico.
Again,
Mexico needs to find a difference maker of their own, and who do you think that player can be for them?
I've seen Galvez score a few goals. I've seen Blanco score a few goals. I think that something's going to come from either number 4 or number 7. That's just my feeling. But it could be from anyone else, But, I mean, this is kind of elementary, Puerto Rico. 5 goals by Zayas, number 7. 10 minus 5 is equal to 5. They would have been down without that number 7. Again, mathematics comes into play here.
And here we go. Mexico on the attack. Mexico looking to add some things up and subtract. Oh!
A good block, a great block, but maybe a new shot clock inside there.
And we see Mexico coming again. He looks like he's going, slips it into the Diesel.
Again, a great kick out, great opportunity. This time it was a kick out drawn by number 7. Let's see if Mexico can execute. Last few minutes have been up and down, but it's much better water polo than the first few minutes of this quarter.
I feel like the Mexican spacing needs to be a little bit better here on offense. Oh!
Great goal there by number 2.
Mercado Losa. Diego. Oh!
And you see, when you see those yellow cards coming up to the coaches, it shows frustration. The coaches are using a little bit of colorful language, and the referee recognizes that and tells them, cool your brain, as we say in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, he needs to cool his brain because this is a family broadcast. So we can't be having too much of that.
That was actually a great quarter of water polo. The score is 10-7, Puerto Rico to Mexico. Let's see if the energy levels can really change.
So what you say has been the story of that quarter in terms of energy levels and in terms of tactics by the two teams?
I see that anytime that Mexico gets the ball inside set, they get great opportunities. The problem that Mexico has had for the entire game is they've not capitalized on those man-up opportunities. Imagine this. They had five man-up opportunities that they did not score. If they had converted half of them, let's say 2.5, but that's mathematics again. Let's just say 40%. 2 out of the 5, they would have 2 goals. And if they had scored those 2 penalties, Mexico would have actually been up.
Yep, you're actually right about that. It would have been a much closer game, much tighter. And but you know what, Mexico, you have to give them credit. They did really fight back in that quarter. Puerto Rico didn't make it easy, but being 3 goals behind going into the 4th quarter, it's not insurmountable.
Yes, it's just, I think it's energy level. Let's see if Mexico, I think that for me, anytime that I played water polo, the way that you showed it that you wanted to win the quarter is if you win the swim off. I believe the group that wins the swim off is going to win this game.
Okay, well, we'll see if at the end of the next 8 minutes, if you're proven to be a fortune teller or just another Miss Cleo looking for some tips.
All right, 868 water polo. You could send all your imaginary money to me. Really, Ruel, the one thing is we love water polo so much we cannot curb our enthusiasm. Those roars of every single time there's a goal, I just can't help it.
Every time the ball's flying towards goal, you don't know what's going to happen until the ball hits the water, Chris, and that's what I enjoy.
Yes. No, we actually, if everyone goes on the live chat, we actually have another commentator, and this sounds crazy, but his name sounds crazy. I feel.
Oh, and here we go. Who won the swim off? Puerto Rico.
Let's see if my Miss Cleo vibes is actually, if I actually have a little bit of clairvoyance here.
All right. If it is, I'm definitely asking you to pick my lotto numbers at the end of the night. But here we go. Puerto Rico on the attack. Slips.
Oh, great energy again. Sink ball.
Oh, good heads-up play by the Mexican goalkeeper. You have to say that.
Oh,
Bernardo
look, there
Partida.
is a streaker down. There is a man up.
And he finds him. What's he going to do?
Cap number 6. Let's see if he passes the ball. Oh, no. Oh, bad pass. Bad pass stops the man-up opportunity. These, again, are the types of plays that Mexico really needs to put in. That's too much energy that they're wasting. And now, they're down a man. And we'll see if Puerto Rico can capitalize on this.
I have to say, Mexico, they did seem to have an early momentum swing there to start the quarter with a nice defensive stop and a quick breakaway. But decision-making in that offensive third really let them down, Chris.
Yes. Again, I feel if Mexico looks back at this game and they really are introspective, they kind of recognize that they were missed opportunities. Goal number 11. Gabriel Robles. I think this is the first time he scored,
Yeah,
so.
I think he has, and he makes the lead. Puerto Rico 11, Mexico 7, really trying to give his team some more daylight and really put some more pressure on the Mexican offense of trying to come up with some answers.
It's interesting. He's actually. I'm looking at the sheet. And he's the youngest player on the team. Must be a big thing for him. I saw real enthusiasm there from Gabriel.
Is he even allowed to drive?
He's not allowed to drive, but he could shoot.
Oh. Here we go, Mexico.
Oh, great goal
Oh, give it to the big guy in the center, number 12 for Mexico. Another Robles.
there. Oh, wow. You know, they sure they're not related, you know, but you know, it's funny how energies work, huh? Robles to Robles.
I know. And the score is Puerto Rico 11, Mexico 8.
You know, I honestly feel that the score doesn't really reflect what's actually happening in this game. You know, Mexico has had a very, very bad game. They should be closer, you know, but Puerto Rico is playing well enough to you know, really do well.
Well, quick question, Chris. Granted, we've noted some of the missed opportunities in Mexicans have.
Yes.
Are we correct? Are we over? What? Quick shot?
Yes.
You know, are the Mexicans really better than we think they are? Because, I mean, they did have the opportunities that would have made it a much closer game, or they might even had the lead, and maybe the Puerto Ricans are a little bit overrated.
I mean, I don't think it's a you know, in the end, the score always reflects a better team. But these are the type of things.
I think this guy just likes getting shout out. Go ahead.
Yes. This is this. We'll see. We'll see. You know,
Well, I mean, well, it raises the question, like, of overrated, underrated, or properly rated in terms of what we're seeing from these two teams. You have the Puerto Ricans that, to be fair, they have been executing well. Seemingly, they're starting to tie on the defensive press a bit because Mexico is getting some more openings. But like you said, you know, the Mexicans didn't take those opportunities. So you have to wonder, you know, are we overrating, underrating, or properly rating?
yeah, you know, I don't really judge the overrating per se, because a lot of times teams could just have bad games. You know, it'll be funny if in 2 days we see Mexico winning, fighting for the gold medal. You know, but I think Mexico has the tools to actually compete well. I don't think they will beat Cuba. You know.
Oh, off the crossbar!
But Puerto Rico has definitely played like they wanted to win today. So. You know, we're going into the last 4 minutes of this game, and we'll see. You know, I feel that these 3 goals are a little bit insurmountable for
Mexico?
Yes, and it's you know, I'm not saying it because I said the team that won the swim off was going to win this game. You know, but I'm just, you know, you get this sense about energy, and unless something drastic happens within the next minute and a half to 2 minutes, I feel that Puerto Rico is going to cruise to.
Well, you already see Puerto Rico doing some time-wasting tactics, really letting the time run down and taking away opportunities for attacks by the Mexicans.
Yes.
The Mexicans come up with the ball, and if they really want to be serious about making this a game,
They need to score on this opportunity.
they need to score on this drive. That is correct.
Yes.
And here they go, the man with the pink tights.
Again, you know, he wasted the last opportunity. Let's see if the left-hander can get the ball in. You know, they pass the ball to the wrong side, in my opinion. You know, let's see if they get the ball in tight set.
Takes the shot. Oh! Mexico!
Number 7,
Number
Galvez.
So, when
Again, Sol Galvez has scored a few goals in this game, and he has been a difference maker.
I know, Chris. One of my favorite TV shows, Better Call Saul. When you're in trouble, just dial up the phone, and Saul is really coming through today for the Mexicans, and he's making it a 2-goal advantage. Sorry, just a 2-goal deficit, and Puerto Rico has to get their tactics right here at the end of this match. Here we go, Chris.
Yeah, well, we'll see again. You know, these are the important things. This is why you drill every single day. You know, you remember us having 12, 13 sessions a week,
Oh my
training
gosh.
twice a day, and that's why you train the 13 session. That's why on Saturday morning you're out there training 5,000 meters so that you'll be able to be lasting in these games. let's see where the fitness goes, you know.
And we'll see. I mean, the Puerto Ricans been holding up well. Oh!
Cap number 8 from Puerto Castillo.
Chris, I told you earlier, you got to put that flavor into it. Rey Julian Castillo. With the goal that I really think that might be the goal that breaks the back of the Mexicans.
Yes.
With under 3 minutes to play, Mexico goes back up with a 3-goal lead, leading it 12-9.
Yeah, I mean, I don't sense Puerto Rico being up 3 goals actually really worrying too much unless something drastic happens, you know?
Well, that is something that did not have to happen or shouldn't have happened, but now Puerto Rico is back on the attack.
Puerto Rico is just going to try using all 30 seconds of their shot clock. You know, maybe getting the ball down to the wing and making sure there's no counterattack. That's a bad offensive play, you know? Again, giving Mexico an opportunity. There's a timeout now. Mexico down by 3 goals. Let's see if they can actually pull something out of their hat.
Well, Chris, curious enough, Mexico's had a couple timeouts in this game, but they really haven't executed well. What do you think helps a team to properly execute the coach's demands coming out of a timeout?
I think that, you know, it's people not getting too nervous. It's actually everybody being on the same page, you know, not fighting at all. I think if Mexico listens to the coach and ensures, I see him there on the sideline trying to get their energy up. They actually execute. They can put in a goal. They'll only be 2 goals down. Again, with 2 minutes left, it's a very, very tough order, but I've seen it in water polo. I've seen teams win games, you know, but I think Mexico has left a little bit too much to the end here.
Well,
but we'll see. We'll see, you know, again, it has to happen inside of the water.
Okay. Well, in terms of with Puerto Rico seem to be taking the strategy of just wasting time and not really taking attempts on goal. Do you think that's a good strategy to do within the dying stages of the game?
I never feel that is prudent, but somehow...
Which one is imprudent?
It's you see, the thing is, you know, playing not to lose. Okay, we're up. The action is back on.
You can keep talking.
Yes. Let's see inside here. This is a very, very important possession. I like the ball movement. Oh, they're setting it up. The shot's going to come now.
Wasted man-up opportunity again by Mexico, Chris.
Yes. Not enough movement, too short of passing. And now this kind of feeds a counter-attack. Let's see if Puerto Rico can put a goal in.
Puerto Rico driving free on the post. Is there a man on him? Tries the lob. Oh! A little bit too much on that, Chris. And now
Yeah,
Mexico back on it again.
Yeah, you know, I'm sensing the energy inside here. Mexico has, you know, they're playing, but they're not really playing. You know, I sense the energy inside here. I think Puerto Rico has kind of put in the work, which is kind of sealed this game. Puerto Rico up by 3 goals, but those 3 goals kind of seem like 10 goals right now, the way Mexico is playing. We're getting down into the last minute and a half of the game. I feel that again, you know. That was actually a very good pass, but you know, Puerto Rico is just there to kill time, and you're going to see them maybe pass the ball to the corner, and you know, play out the clock.
I mean, play out the clock, but you can definitely see that high pressure defense that they had early in the game. In these dying stages, they are really just holding on, Chris. But
Yes.
Mexico is not doing enough to capitalize on these opportunities.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. Oh wow,
Oh, is that our man?
that's number 4.
Number 4, Blanco.
Again, you know, it's the 7-4 connection. Galvez, Blanco have scored a lot of goals. That's more of a goal of frustration. They're up by 2 goals. I don't see them coming back by 2 goals. If they do, this will be the best last minutes of any game that I've seen in a while.
Well, Chris, at CCCAN, anything can happen. That's why
Yes.
people tune in to watch us here on the live stream. And for Mexico to really pull something off, we need Puerto Rico to make an errant pass or maybe an offensive foul.
Yes, and you see the high press
By the Mexicans.
The referees normally allow a lot to happen in this last quarter, especially when team is just trying to kill the clock. Let's see, number 7, Zayas has the ball. Offensive foul.
Oh, here we go. Mexico with the opportunity. Wait.
Yes.
And
you
an
see-
exclusion.
Oh, you see here, and then again another opportunity. I always remind you, if Mexico puts in this goal in this man-up opportunity, remember the 2 penalty shots that were missed. That was
Yes.
the difference in the game.
Oh, Chris, well, let's see what happens here. Man up opportunity. Seconds clicking down. Can they bring it in close?
Can they bring it in close? Balls across.
Oh, goal, Mexico!
Again, very interesting last quarter. I love the energy. I love the 10 seconds left to go. I honestly feel it's a little bit too late.
You
Those
think
two-
so, Chris? I don't know, Chris. I don't know, Chris. I still believe until the fat lady gets up on stage and starts clearing her throat, anything's possible in this game of water polo.
Anything is possible, but I don't think that Mexico is going to get back the ball. You know, I always remember every single time. I told you, those 2 penalties were the difference maker in this game. Mexico had to expended so much energy in these last few quarters,
Correct.
bringing back the game. And Puerto Rico just kind of coasted incorrectly. I would be, if I was the coach of Puerto Rico, that's a turnover. That was a bad call.
Oh, here we go. The Puerto Ricans seem to be cracking.
This was terrible. In water polo, there is a time-wasting measure that you cannot actually.
Oh!
Yeah, game over. Game over.
You gotta
A little
say,
bit too late.
Chris, your prediction barely held on.
Yes, I was.
Mexico got, actually Puerto Rico, the benefit of a no call there by the ref at the end. Woo. Woo, my word, Chris. I mean, how can you sum up that match?
The match was absolutely exciting. Mexico was actually the better team in the 4th quarter, coming back to within 1 goal. They entered the quarter 3 goals down, so they won that quarter by a 2-goal margin. But what ended up happening is they left the surge, they left the charge for too late. At one point in time, the score was 9-3 or 9-4, and that's why Puerto Rico won this game.
Yeah, Puerto Rico was just able to just outlast the Mexicans.
Yes.
A lot of gaps there, surprisingly, by the Puerto Ricans defensively, but they were able to hold on, and it's always nice to see at the end of the match the love and the appreciation of the competition between the teams, and it was a great match here.
Yeah, you know, I want to thank, Puerto Rico and Mexico for giving us, a very spirited game of water polo. But now on to business. Now on to Trinidad and Tobago, what we've come here to see.
Yes, and that will be our next game and our next stream. So on behalf of all of us here at Trademark Communications, our producer Michael, director Ryan, assistant director Delvin, cameraman Anna,